Hi there, it's Sakurako. 皆さんこんにちは、Sakurako です。So today's video, I'd like to share with you guys the things I learned when I was on working holiday in Australia and New Zealand that I think is more important than to be able to speak English. If you have watching my channel, I guess you know where I was. But if you are new to my channel, I had been out of Japan for 2 years and been on working holiday in Australia and New Zealand. I have made tons of video about it, so just in case you might be curious of that, I will leave the playlist link in this description down below or just up here, so feel free to check that out. Alright, let's get into today's topic, which is the things I learned when I was on working holiday in Australia and New Zealand that I think it's more important than to be able to speak English. First of all, one of the things I learned when I was in Australia was to find the balance, because I sort of got lost myself. What I mean by that is I didn't make myself some time to take a rest. I spent most of my time to edit the video that I filmed. That's obviously because I was not as fast as now to get it done. I had 3 jobs at a time and I simply wanted to do other things. So I didn't make myself sometimes for not doing anything, just go. I didn't make myself sometimes to release stress that I got without knowing it. And there was also really tough moment that I had and I really had struggled with, but I didn't think I had anyone to talk about, so I just kept myself. That made myself even more tired. Like I completely lost control in my emotions as I got tired day by day. I don't know how many times I bothered my colleagues by crying at work with or without reasons. So now that I got over it, I could say living in Australia was really tough for me to get through and very challenging in my life. Not that I'm saying I didn't like living there, because I loved the people I met, the weather, and how I lived there, you know. It just I tried so many things at once and some bad things happened to me that triggered me to feel the way that I hadn't felt for so long. So I just bottled up. You know, it's like your jar in your heart is filled by water. And when the water gets full in the jar, it gets overflowing. You know, that's my feeling that I couldn't stop. Alright, moving on to the next thing that I learned in New Zealand was not to take personally and let go of the things that you cannot control. I wish I could tell you the story that I had when I was in New Zealand, but I really don't want to talk about it, because once I talk about it, it reminds me of how I felt at the time. And I'd feel the same things now in the present, and even it's not happening right now in the present moment, I'd feel the same things and I'd cried, I think. But yeah, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But long story short, I didn't get along with my colleagues at work. You know, I really had fun to work with my colleagues who work up front, but I didn't get along with people who work in the kitchen, even though I worked in the kitchen. Some of them like to tease each other. That is often too much for others. But if the place you work is really small, even if you don't want to hear it, if they're just right there, you hear them saying something that you don't want to hear it, right? And one day, like, one of them was teasing by saying the word that you have to do, you have to say when you work through others, like behind, coming through, or backs, to let them know that you are walking through them. When I say it, my voice would go a little bit higher, so my voice sounds more louder. Some of them was teasing about it, like he was pretend to be a girl and saying like a girl. Everyone else was saying behind. I was the only person who said coming through, and he was saying coming through by pretending like a girl. So For the first time I heard him saying, I thought he is making fun of me. But I just ignored, I didn't get attention, but he just kept saying it hours and hours, days and days, and then one day I took it personally and I told him not to make fun of me. That was really brave action for me to do it because I usually don't. But you know what he said? I'm not making fun of you. That's it. He didn't even apologize or say anything. He even stopped talking, or like he even stopped greeting to me like good morning or bye at the end of the work. But it's okay. You just let it go, because then you know what kind of people you can or cannot along with. And I think people you have met and will meet in the future means something for you. So what I learned from them was about me, like what kind of people I can or cannot get along with, or I can deal with. The similar situations might happen in the future. I know how I can deal better. So everything happens for a reason, and everyone I have met in my life means something. Doesn't matter I keep in touch or not. Everyone has their own color. That's who they are and that's who I am. So it's okay to let it go. And it's a really interesting question that got me thinking. But people are not perfect, me included, and I am not the person who knows myself the most, right? Like you know yourself as you get older. So everything happens for a reason, to get to know myself better. Of course, as an English learner, you wanna be able to speak English like better and better, right? Why I think it's more important than to be able to speak English is that there is only one person who is going to stay with you until you die. It's you. So all of the experiences that I had in those two countries was really good experience for me to get to know myself more better. That might not be the things that I could have learned in the countries. I could have learned if I stayed in Japan as well. But that's where I chose to live at a time. That's what I learned in those countries. It just experiences in really like short of the time in my life. And to be able to speak English might change your life, but if you don't know who you are, what you do, you know, how you feel, you wouldn't be able to explain about it, right? So what's more important than to be able to speak English is to know yourself more better, so you can express yourself in English. That's what I think, and that's what I learned, you know, because if you know what you are going to do, how you feel, you can look it up and try to say that aloud, right? But if you don't know how you feel, then the language wouldn't work. Alright, so I think that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you like it, and if you did, please give me a big like, and don't forget to subscribe. Life is a wonderful adventure. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye!